You are listening to The American Soundbite, a podcast that features common sense thoughts of me, an everyday American. This is the start of the most valuable 10 minutes of your day, so congratulations on joining us. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to help out a friend, maybe a family member, or even a coworker. Somebody who may be a little less conversive in the morning, maybe not up to date on current events, who just doesn't have the talking points they need to be interesting around the water cooler, maybe the coffee pot, or even before your Zoom meeting begins each morning. Let them know that you start your day by listening to the American Soundbite and that they should too. They can find us by telling Amazon Alexa to play the American Soundbite podcast, by going to Apple Podcasts, by going to Google Podcasts, or even going to TuneIn Radio. That's right, you can find us anywhere that podcasts are available today. So, good morning. We are, I don't know, it's November. It's the middle of November. It's past the middle of November. It's almost the end of the year. And we are being confronted once again by governors around the country, by certain lawmakers. I don't know, are governors lawmakers? Whatever, by certain leaders of our states, elected officials of our states that have decided that the spread of this coronavirus is way too dangerous and we've got to do something to stop it. In fact, just yesterday in the state of Ohio, that's right, the Buckeye State, Governor Mike Dewine held a press conference where he was saying, we've tried all kinds of things and we've looked at all the data and we've talked to experts across the field, and we've decided that we have to implement. Okay, now get this. In Ohio, like other states, by the way, he's just following suit with what other states have tried. They have decided that they, effective tomorrow, are going to implement a curfew. That's right, the same kind of thing that you would do under, martial law, when there is violence and looting and rioting going on and you've got to control the public. You implement a curfew and then you send out the stormtroopers to enforce said curfew. So in Ohio, as of tomorrow at 10 p.m., there will be a curfew from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. In this curfew, you are required to stay in your home unless you're working. Retail businesses are required to close, except for those that stay open. And you have to stay home, or you might be arrested and with, a 90-day term in prison, or maybe a $750 fine. But, the police won't pull you over if you're driving down the street after 10 o'clock. And, if you're out walking or jogging or taking the dog out for his nightly ritual, then that's okay. But, we're going to implement this shutdown, this lockdown from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m., this curfew, because we need to take care of you. Everything's going to be closed except for the things that are open. I mean, who does this sound like, honestly? Do you remember somebody who was on the campaign trail just a few weeks ago? And, we've got to stop the virus. We're going to stop the virus. We're going to do things. We're going to listen to science. We're going to do things like we're going to wear masks. We're going to tell everybody they should wear masks. You got to wear a mask, man. Come on. Well, this is what Republican Governor Mike Dewine has now mandated. You got to wear a mask and you got to shut down the businesses at 10 o'clock because apparently the virus, not unlike, a werewolf or Dracula, which is, a vampire, or the undead, The virus apparently comes out at night. In fact, it generally comes out probably, I'm guessing, by his 10 p.m. curfew. It comes out at exactly 11 p.m. at night. The virus starts viciously attacking those unsuspecting people who are at a restaurant or at a bar, or maybe just happen to be at the grocery store. Well, no, you can still go to the grocery store after 10 o'clock. But there is a curfew that you have to abide by if you're not going to drive through or a delivery or a pickup restaurant. So if restaurants want to serve food at 2 a.m., they still can be open. If a grocery store is open and you need to go shopping at, let's just call it midnight, you can still do that. If a drugstore happens to be open 24 hours a day and you need to go buy a Monster Energy drink at 3 a.m., well, you can do that. But you're under curfew, so you can't leave the house. But if you need to go do these things, go ahead. Have your, if you need to do those things, we understand. You're not going to be arrested. You're not going to be bothered by the police if you're actually out. But for everybody else, there is a curfew. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you back to the middle of March when this whole thing began, when the state of Ohio led the nation by implementing lockdowns, because they needed 14 days, just 14 days for you to stay in your house and avoid other people and don't even go out for any reason, because we need the hospitals to have enough time to prepare for those of you who are going to get sick. In fact, they were honest with us then because they understood the science and they were thinking with a unmanipulated mind. They told us that we're trying to flatten the curve, and they defined flattening the curve specifically by saying that they're not going to prevent any one of us from catching the virus. In fact, the same number of people are still going to get infected by the virus with these lockdowns. But instead of us all getting sick at once, they're going to stretch it out over a longer period of time, so that the hospitals, so that the doctors, so that the pharmacies, so that the drug companies, so that everybody can just keep up with the rate of people that are getting sick. That's what they told us. They told us up front. They admitted, so they still know today, that any type of a lockdown isn't going to prevent you or I from getting sick. Now, I'm not saying that I want to get sick. I wouldn't be a foolish person to go out and say, hey, I'm hunting for somebody who has the Rona so that I can catch it now and get over with it. But the reality of it is that they know, the states, the doctors, everybody knows that you can't hide from a virus. Plain and simple. If we could hide from a virus, every year when the flu started to break out, by the way, how many flu cases have there been so far this year? Every year when the flu broke out, we would have a lockdown. And we would wait a couple days and the virus would pass us by and go up to Canada where, they deserve it, right? It would go to some other country and it would bother them. And we'd be safe for another year. But we can't hide from the flu virus. We couldn't hide from, any virus or germ that comes around. We can take precautions. We can minimize our risk. But we can't really prevent ourselves from getting sick from a virus. There is no solution. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the flu. However, our governors and governments, here in the U.S. and around the world, have found that this whole Rona thing is a great opportunity to, and if I can quote Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, a great opportunity to build back better. And build back better doesn't mean it doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with the coronavirus. In fact, it gives us the opportunity for a societal reset. It gives us an opportunity to restructure wealth, to redistribute incomes, to force, i.e. mandate, i.e. require changes in our environmental policy so that we can protect Mother Earth and we can be green. And we can, well, change our economic system so that it's more caring for, well, everybody. Because rich people, you know, they don't belong in this world. We should persecute them. We should take everything that they've earned and we should give it to, well, the rest of us because we deserve it, especially those of us in government. I may have ad-libbed a little bit on what Justin Trudeau said, but he did say that the Build Back Better movement is a globalist movement designed to literally, and this was a quote, take advantage of Corona to give us the opportunity to restructure the way that, well, people view life in the world today. So by Governor DeWine and governors all over the country, well, there's only a few of them, who have decided that they're going to implement shutdowns or curfews or quarantines or whatever you want to call it, that they're going to legislate well, they're not legislators, so they're not really legislating, but they're going to mandate the virus into submission. Let me ask you, in history, let's look at the science. Show me where the science has proven, where the data has demonstrated that government has ever been able to eradicate a virus or a bug, has ever been able to stop a pandemic, which this obviously is not, by the way. I think that I read that the likelihood of the average American person of all ages, all races, all genders, all religions, everything, the average American has a 99.6% chance of surviving the coronavirus. Yeah, that means that you have a 0.4% chance of dying from corona, which sucks. None of us want to die, right? I mean, we all want to live forever, which is possible, right? So I actually saw a post, and it was quoting CDC numbers. You can look them up, where they actually broke down by age group. And the most vulnerable age group is 70 plus, and they had something like I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it was like 94.6% chance of surviving corona, which means they have about a 5% chance, or maybe it was 96.4. They had a 4% chance of dying from coronavirus, which is a big number for sure. But those people are also being treated for cancers and heart disease and lung disease and freaking colon disease and you name it. Most of those people are battling some other disease, and pretty much they know they've got a time limit ticking over their head anyhow. I'm not discounting that. I'm not making light of the fact that some people could die from corona, and that sucks. But we are all going to die someday. But if you're at high risk, if you have other complications, if you're battling other diseases, if you have heart disease or lung disease or foot and mouth disease or whatever, isolate yourself. Put yourself under a quarantine and protect yourself. But the majority of this country, the majority of the world, only has a 0.4% chance of dying from this virus, which means that if we get it, we're probably going to be a little sick for a couple days or a few days, maybe up to a week or so, and then we're going to get better. There is no science, there is no data, there is nothing that implies or suggests or demonstrates that shutting down a state from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. or having a curfew whatsoever is going to do anything to stop a virus. Now, it may limit some looting or some rioting. It may limit some nefarious activities that may be going on, or maybe you have wind that they might start coming up here over the next 21 days. What I'm suggesting is that the reason that there is a nighttime curfew has nothing to do with the virus, that there's something else lurking underneath. Maybe the governor wants to prepare for when some news maybe about the election comes out. I don't know. Maybe he's getting ready to take other action and he's lying to the people and covering it up by using Corona as the reason. But plain and simple, there is no science, there is no data, there is nothing to say that you locking yourself up at night, but going on about your day as normal, will change the spread of a virus. There has been evidence, in fact, that if you lock yourself in your home and never go out, that the virus still won't go away, because we did that for how many weeks? Like 7 or 8 or 9 weeks this spring? And the virus is still here. We may delay its onset. We may flatten the curve a little bit. But as soon as they open things back up, the virus is going to spread again. You cannot stop a virus from attacking a living organism. That's what they do. That's why they exist. That's how they survive. And no government order or government mandate or anything else is going to stop a virus cold in its tracks. Now there's 2 companies, Pfizer and Moderna, that say they have vaccines that are like 95% successful, that they prevent the virus, and 95% of their test group who was actually given the vaccine, only 5% of that group caught the virus. So maybe that's a good thing. And over the next 6 months or so, maybe it will come out and we can get the vaccine and we'll have a much less likelihood of catching a virus from which we have a 0.4% chance of dying from. By the way, did you know that you have more than a 0.4 chance of dying in a car accident? Did you know that you have more than a 0.4 chance of dying from choking at a chicken bone, at a Chinese restaurant? Did you know that you have a more than a 0.4 chance of dying by slipping in the bathtub or shower over the course of your lifetime? Obviously, those percentages go much higher the older that you get. So maybe we should ban showers and bathtubs, because it's also bathtubs. Maybe we should ban hygiene so that people don't slip and fall in the bathtub or the shower and die. I think that the science is playing out on this one. We should investigate it. We should start a movement. We should lobby our governors to eliminate fresh water being pumped into our houses, because that will stop people from slipping and falling and dying in the shower or bathtub. It's a serious killer. It's a pandemic, and we got to stop it. We got to protect ourselves. So, yeah, the curfews are a load of crap. The governors are moving the goalpost. They're changing the game. And I will tell you that it's absolutely not because of Corona. Maybe it has something to do with what Justin Trudeau said, which, by the way, Build Back Better was one of Joe Biden's campaign slogans, a globalist slogan that he stole. You know, he is known for doing that, for plagiarizing other people and whatnot. So he took that and he used it in his campaign, but it's a globalist statement. So maybe it has something to do with what Justin Trudeau told us. They're trying to restructure the lives and the morals of people everywhere. Maybe it has something more to do with, less to do with a virus and what's happening there, and maybe more to do with what may be coming up, or they are afraid is coming up as we approach the electoral college meeting and the selection of the President of the United States. I don't know, but I do know for sure, absolutely, that it has nothing to do with corona because science doesn't support it. You have been listening to an episode of The American Soundbite, a podcast that features common sense thoughts of me, an everyday American. This has been, holy crap, the most valuable 20 minutes of your day. I apologize for going long, but it is an important topic to discuss and get out there on the airwaves. Before I go, if you liked what I had to say, if you enjoy the program, if you like what we say and do here, click on the like button. It lets me know and encourages me to keep doing it. If you didn't like what I said, you want to argue with me, or you just want to yell and scream, type it in the comment box. I do read those. Right next to the like button is the share button. Let your friends, your family members, and your coworkers on social media everywhere know that you listen to the American Soundbite and that they should too. They will be more conversive and more informed people if they listen. I really do appreciate your help, your support, and the efforts to spread the word of the American Soundbite around the globe. Thanks a lot for joining us. I hope you have a great day, and God bless.